Hey, Scott Austin here. In this video, I'm going to talk about the photo assets, graphic asset requirements for Macarooz. To start off with, I'm going to talk about the four sizes of photos that are the standards that I use for things. And in these assets, I usually think about them in aspect ratio. The four aspect ratios that I use are 18 by 5, which is what this banner is. 4 by 3, which is what these images are here. 9 by 13, and that's the banner on mobile. 9 by 13, and then the last thing is square. And most product photos are square. Now, the way I do the photo assets is for 18 by 5, I usually max out the dimension on one axis at 2048. So the 18 by 5 is 2048 by 569. The 4 by 3 is 2048 by 1536. The 9 by 13 is, I do this 1024 wide by 1479. And then the square is 2048 by 2048. And even though these are large dimensions, the theme that we're using scales them down to the right size, except it doesn't do it as well on the banner on portrait, which is why I have one that's not at 2048, the smaller size. But those are the four sizes that I usually drive these graphics to. And the theme also does it. The theme and Shopify together do a really good job in optimizing, the JPEG quality and all that good stuff. They're actually using WebP, so you don't have to worry about saving them at whatever quality. I usually upload them at 90 quality JPEGs. Photos go up as JPEGs, and graphics usually go up as PNGs. And then Shopify will serve them as WebP unless it's on an Apple platform, and then it serves them as PNG or a JPEG. So we don't want to be uploading our photos as PNGs because on Apple it would be too big of a file size. So what I want to do then, so for assets that we need is basically everything, right? So those four sizes, and that said, those four sizes are our standards. Exceptions are totally fine when appropriate. So let's start on the home page, which I didn't start on because this is where an exception already is at, right? So we've got a big banner, right? And whatever you guys decide to put up here, we can, it can be a smaller banner, it can be a taller banner, whatever's appropriate for y'all, we can put up here. But the point being, the banner doesn't have to be that 18 by 5. If we want a bigger banner on some pages, it's totally allowed. And then these graphics here, I've made those. If you guys want to make new product seals, let me know. We use these on the home page and on the product page, and we're using them throughout. Let me just show you, for example, on the flavors, I think we have other product seals. So if you want to go with a product seal, design that you make, we can do that, but there's a whole bunch of them. Yeah, here's an example. These aren't all of them, but these are some of them to show you what we're doing with the product seals. They're all consistent in size and shape, obviously, and design, and then the colors are meant to map to the Macarooz colors. So we can replace those if you want to. Back to the home page, we didn't put on any of the fancy graphics that you guys had mocked up, which I loved, right, on your mock-up. And I don't have any of these assets. So, let's go to fit width. So whatever assets you want to send, like my favorite one is this one here, right? I would love to see something like this for Macaroons and something like this for Mac Pops, and then we can put them on the home page or on the about pages, wherever's appropriate. If you provide those assets, I can put them in there. And I don't have assets for these little, what I call stickers either. I don't think I got assets for anything. Yeah, so all this fun stuff. So I just like that. The point I wanted to show you was I love the ideas from the graphics you made. This one especially, would love to see a couple things like this that explain the story better, right? And by the story, I mean in this case the story is, hey, what's a Macaroon kind of thing. But any kind of graphics like this that you provide, we can definitely use in multiple places. Because one of the things we're trying to do in this design is not only sell the products, right? List our products out here so that people can find what they're looking for, but also tell the story around the products. So, we have an About Us page where a little bit of the story is being told. We've got the Macarooz difference page where a little bit of story is being told. This would be a great place for some graphics where we don't have any, right? We talk about the instructions in care, and that kind of stuff, history of Macarooz. So we're trying to put in a little more information that we're going to use on the site. We'll use it on the product page and also in emails that go out in the welcome series and follow-up emails post-purchase. So back to our home page. What I did in a lot of places is I just put in completely placeholder banners, and some of them are just a solid blue, and they just to match the header here. So let's go to a page that isn't the home page, and you'll see what I have here is we're using the blue. So the blue up here, I didn't want to put blue over blue, obviously, so I just put the blue branding color bar, not underneath the logo, but just underneath the navigation there. And if you look at that on the mobile phone, I actually changed the branding color to the green because then I did want to put the logo over the color. So the point I was leading up to is for a lot of the pages, what I ended up doing is just putting a blue banner in just to have a placeholder for now until you guys come in and create the assets that we're going to use. So on here we've talked about everything. Like I said, I imagine we'll have a couple of elements that, what's a Macarooz, what's a MacPop, and also some navigational elements, Macarooz and MacPops, and I would love some sort of graphic that says build your box, right? For example, if I go to Macarooz, the build a box here, we have just a graphic. This doesn't say build your box to me, right? This is the final product. It doesn't talk about the shopping experience. I could see a bunch of different things, although I'm not a graphic artist, so I couldn't make it, but I could see a little Bob the Builder type thing where there's a little crane or whatever, to signify that, hey, you're going to build this box. You, the customer, are going to build this box, right? So right now we're using product photography that has been shot by Macarooz for these decision-making product photos. What I really would like to see is something a little more iconic for what the product is, right? Like the Chocolate Lovers collection should look a little more chocolatey. The class, surprising box. It should explain a little bit more than just because by just looking at these pictures, I can't tell the difference between the products at all, right? I have to read the words to understand what the difference is. So if there's a way that you guys can come up with to visually explain the differences between those, that would be great. Let me just show you the all Macarooz here. So they all just look the same basically, with just slightly different colors in them. So I hope you guys will come up with a way to make them look different with just the photos. So let's go back to our home page and let's go into the evergreen pages first because those are easier to talk about. So GIFs, this is the whole experience we're building with landing pages because most of the time Macarooz or Macarooz's products are given as GIFs. So focusing on GIFs was a really important part of what we put together. So, obviously this is one of those blue banners that is just a placeholder for what you guys come up with. And then what I did is I think we're using 4 different lifestyle photos for every single event. Let's call this anniversary an event and Valentine's Day an event, right? Because they're not all holidays. So each one of these events, we have a landing page we've created. So this one here, these are all square, obviously, in aspect ratio. And then just in CSS, we're rounding out the corners on them. And then if we go into anniversary, we've got a banner here, which is that 18 by 5 banner. And if I look at that on mobile, there's the 9 by 13 banner. And then if I go back to this, right, these are the square product photos that come in. Even though this is a rectangular box, the whole photo itself is square right now because we've added a white bar on the bottom and top. And I know that because they all line up at the same spot. The text lines up at the same spot. And then here's a 4 by 3, so a 2048 by 1536. So that's where you get your 4 images from, right? This was one, 2, 3 on the portrait version of this, the mobile version of the banner, and then 4 down there. So each one of them's got 4 different lifestyle photos, or different croppings of. This one used 2 different photos. Some of them actually use 4 different ones because not every banner can be cropped well between portrait and landscape. And what I did on these on purpose is they're all lifestyle photos that don't show the product, right? Now, if we could go off and do a photo shoot and create a anniversary Macarooz lifestyle photo and an anniversary or a birthday Macarooz lifestyle photo, that would be fabulous. But I don't think those resources, time and money exist right now to do. And one of the things that I find on a page like this is if you're going to use a lifestyle photo, they should all be lifestyle photos, as opposed to a lifestyle photo here and a product photo here and a lifestyle here. If they're different, it makes it a little more confusing. Consistency of all lifestyle photos makes it easier for people to understand the differences between them. That said, if they're all lifestyle photos, I would really appreciate it if they were, and it's really hard when you pull stock photography, if they all looked like the same photo style. Like, this smoky effect doesn't look good next to this, clean, clear, in focus photo, which doesn't look good next to this not, in focus photo, which doesn't look good to this, photo, which I think obviously has a filter applied to it of some sort. So that inconsistency of final photographic, whatever elements that's called, I'm not a fan of, but it's really hard with stock photography to come up with a full set. You see what I go for is the clean, clear most of the time, but that always wasn't. Like the Thanksgiving is a great example where it's out of focus, or this one where they got that stupid smoke crap going on. But that said, if you're going to replace all of these, some sort of, if you're going to replace it with stock photography or graphics even, right? You could make graphic elements for each of these instead of using a photo, which would be absolutely fantastic. Just like the team did for like the free shipping, right? Where they created a banner here, summer free shipping, and they've also got a summer free shipping little graphic that they made. Something like that is fine also. So these pages, like I said, there's a lot of them. There's a bunch of different holidays and events, and each one looks almost the same, right? So you've already seen the anniversary one. Let's just go to Valentine's, where we got a banner. There's a a desktop and a portrait version, a mobile version of the banner. We got some product images, and then we've got another image that links to the see all, right? And then on this image here, this is meant to be a landing page where a customer may see an ad on Instagram or on Google or wherever, and they click on that and they land on this page. So all their Valentine's campaign should point to the Valentine's page. So one of the things we're adding to this page is a little bit of an about, hey, you want to learn more? You may have never heard of Macarooz before. We're going to try to sell you some Valentine's products because that was the ad was all about. But just in case, you want to learn more about Macarooz, you can do that. And so you can click here and learn more. Yeah, that's not clickable right now. Sorry. Let's see if I can find one that's clickable. Right, so that's the Macarooz difference, which is content we still need to clean up here. But some sort of image here, about Macarooz would be, it'd be nice to put a more appropriate image in here, whatever that ends up being from your decisions. So that's the gifts category. About us, we just put in some. These images were on the site before. Now, what I don't like about these images, remember I said 4:3 is the aspect ratio. These images, and I didn't crop them to all be the same size, which is not a good thing. In my experience, these being all the same aspect ratio, whether they're square, 4:3, 16:9, whatever, if they're consistent, it looks better, right? And I just, grabbed some assets that we had, knowing that you guys would be replacing them, so I wasn't worried about them all being the same. Like you can see here, like this one's smaller, and it doesn't look as good when one is out of whack with the other ones. But these, we would want them to all be the 4:3, 2048 by 1536 size JPEGs that go in here. And then we've got the Macarooz difference. This one, we don't have any graphics for right now. So as this story gets built out, determining what the graphics are going to look like, I could see you guys making some custom graphics, that would go in here. And what we use a lot, and it's just because the theme does this, right? On these pages here, we've got these images that are half the screen. And usually when I use those, that's the 4x3. We also have the ability, and I don't know if I have a place to show you this at, but to put, a full width image. I don't think we have any other than banners, and banners were going the full width of the screen. But we could also, what page were we just on? We're on the Macarooz difference. We could also have an image, have it be some text, an image, some text, and some image. And that image could take the full width, and be as tall or, as y'all want. So the screen, we usually max this width out here at 1200 pixels, but I would make that a 2048 wide image and as tall as you want them to be, but not too tall because then it takes up more than the full screen. So we could try a 4x3, but that would be really tall, maybe more like a 16:9 aspect ratio if you want to go that route. So I'm just offering that as an option. When you talk about SQF certified for food safety, you may want to have an image underneath that reinforces that, or we could do a series of 3 images for that matter. We haven't gotten that fancy here yet, so there might be some back and forth of, hey, can we do this or that, and we'll figure it out and put the right thing in place. And we've got a page for instructions and care, which we'll show you here in a second. And as you guys clean those images up, we'll put the best looking one here. We got a history of Macarooz page that I just put in just for info for people who may want to understand some of that. This was just some stock photography or public domain photography that I pulled down to fill in the gaps there. Actually, this is from Macarooz though, Macarooz. So those are some of the evergreen pages. The policy pages has no graphics on them, and they're better that way without graphics because this content gets shown in a bunch of different places and modals and on checkout. We don't want them to look graphically rich. And then let's go to instructions and instructions care. So this one needs banner images. These images need to be cleaned up or maybe even reshot to look a little better. Frequently asked questions has no graphics on it. Contact us has limited graphics. We need a banner. Whenever I say a banner, we're gonna need 2 versions of the banner: the desktop and the mobile version. And that's all we've got on this page right now for graphics. And reviews is a no graphics page also, other than the graphics coming in from the Judge Me Review app. So we don't need any graphics made for that. Now the summer free shipping, right? We are making these different evergreen pages or different landing pages or content pages. I don't know if you guys are going to remake these graphics, but there's another couple of examples. We just decided today to put in some content here, so I haven't done that yet, which is why that'll be cleaned up here pretty soon. Because we're actually turning this into a landing page where they can do an ad campaign. So we're actually going to probably put in some of their Instagram photos that were nice looking and summery looking. They just shot a bunch of them and posted them for the things like. There we go, by a pool kind of thing. So I'm probably just going to grab a couple of those images and throw them on there for a little context of, hey, it's summer and you can still eat macaroons. So now let's look at the shopping experience, and let's first go to build your box. I don't think we're going to need any graphics here, unless you guys are going to redo these to make them all look consistent, because that would be really nice. What I did is I resized all of these to be the same dimensions, a certain width and then a certain height, but they're all shot from slightly different angles. So some of them look much like the sea salt caramel is a much taller image than the pistachio, even though I cropped them to the exact same width. It's a taller image because of the angle it was shot at. So these don't look bad, but they could do another photo shoot to make them all exactly the same from the exact same angle and all that kind of stuff, and maybe even make them look a little cleaner on the cropping here. We can see the shadow on the bottom of the vanilla. You can see a little bit of shadow on the red velvet. Those could be cleaned up a little bit. They're actually really good right now, but they could be made to be absolutely fantastic in the future, right? So that's build your box on Macarooz, Mac Pops, same thing. And the flavor of the months, they're rotating those out. So these were not cropped by me, so they're not exactly the same. But making, figuring out all the different flavors and making them all the same would be really nice. Now, if we go to flavors, we got some photos here that, we can, whatever you guys think of the right images for these, totally, fine. Totally expecting these to be changed out. Here's another example of this aspect ratio is not the same as this aspect ratio. And like I said before, I'm not a fan of that inconsistency. But on the flavors, we're showing all their current flavors with those images that I showed you before, and then all the past flavors. And I spent a lot of time making these, look the same size. I did not spend that same amount of time and energy, obviously, here, where the coconut here and the fortune cookie are very different sizes. Those could all definitely be cleaned up and standardized because they're inconsistent right now. And so these flavors will be rotated back in the future and used on that Build-A-Box page, right? We also have this capability right now. It's kind of cool where you can, say, I like the idea of coconut and dark chocolate truffle flavor. Notify me when that's back in stock. So we have that capability there. So we were looking at flavors. So we need some graphics for this page. On the actual flavor pages, it's just the product photos that need to be cleaned up. And each flavor has two product photos. One is the transparent PNG, and which is cropped closely to a more square or more rectangular horizontal aspect ratio. And then I've got a square JPEG. Because JPEGs compress much better, but I needed the PNG so that on the Build-A-Box, right, we got this transparency thing. And normally when I do a transparency, I'll just make the background of the image the same tan color as the background of the element, but I can't do that here because when you add one of these, it goes to green, a really light green. But because of that, I had to actually make these PNGs, which on an Apple, on a Mac, will be a larger file size. It's delivering a WebP to my Microsoft machine, but it would deliver a PNG to a Mac. So what we did on the flavor pages, what I was talking about, is we actually made two photos for this product. So if I edit the products, now we're going to the Shopify backend, you'll see there's two photos. The first photo, if I remember correctly, is the transparent PNG, and this one's cropped to a 1703 by 1399. And then the second one is the non-transparent JPEG, and that should be square. And this one wasn't done to square, so that was messed up a little bit. Those should be square. And then on the product page here, we're only showing that second image. We're not showing the first image, so that transparent PNG one, it's the same photo, but that's why in some of these flavors that you saw down here, when I click on a product, it doesn't show a photo because we didn't make a second photo for those. And we need to make second photos for those, but I assume you guys will go through that as you building out all your graphics. And corporate gifting is another evergreen type page that could definitely use some good graphics. You can actually need to beef up the content here, the copy also. So we talk about flavors, build your box. Let's go to Macarooz. All the product photos I already talked about before, they should all be square. It would be nice if they were a little more graphically descriptive of the differences between the different products. Right? For me, this is called a collection page. I think the purpose of a collection page is to highlight the differences between the products, not the similarities. So these are all Macarooz, which means they're all very similar, but how can we make it so people understand the differences between them? And that just might be as simple as the fruit collection has some fruit around it, in a stage thing, or the same thing with chocolate lovers, or whatever else. I'm sure you guys come up with some great ideas on how to make that happen. But how do we signify a single flavor? How do we signify this? It's a surprise me where you don't know the flavors until we send them to you, and that kind of stuff. And then back on that previous page, right, we've got another couple navigational elements. This is obviously a total crappy placeholder that I made. Would love to see something a little more elegant in here, and something also again for flavors. We had another page that needed a flavor one. Whatever you guys want to put in place for a flavor image would be great. And then if we go to Mac Pops, right, similar type of thing, where these are product photos up at the top, and we got a flavors. What was the other one on Macarooz that I put in? Flavors. Oh, and all Macarooz collections. So we don't have enough Mac Pop products yet to have to, because what I'm doing on these pages is trying to minimize the number of choices. For the people who are quick and fast and want to just get something now, I don't want to show 12 things to them. Like, hey, here's the 4 most popular, and we say popular right here, popular Macarooz collections. Which one do you want? Well, if that's not enough for you, well, we got even more Macarooz flavors here. See them all. On the Mac Pops, we've only got 3 Mac Pop products right now, outside of the holiday and event ones. And as we get more, then we'll add another layer in here for see all Mac Pops. But right now, there's just the 3 of them. And if we click on a surprise me box, what we do right now when you pick a number of Mac Pops, 3, 6, 10, 20, the same thing on Macarooz, where it's 6, 12, 24, and 48. There's even one place we do 72. What I wanted to do is make it very visually clear to the customer how many they're getting. So one way to do that would be have 3 Mac Pops in a photo, and then 6, and then 10, and 20, which is totally fine, right? But I didn't want to put those graphic assets together because they should map to whatever styles you guys are going to use overall. So right now, I've got these. Oh, I don't have it on. Oh, there we go. I don't know why it's not working on 3. There it is. These little placeholder images that I put in place. So 3 Mac Pops, 6 Mac Pops, 10 Mac Pops, 20 Mac Pops. I said Mac Pops properly that time. Now, when I add that to the cart, this image is going to follow the customer through the rest of their shopping experience. So here's their 20 Mac Pops, and that image is also going to show up when they go into the checkout. So those images, and as their order gets fulfilled, so these images are persistent. So right now, I made them really simple, right? You are getting 20 Mac Pops, and 6 Macarons, and 12 Macarons. But you can make them whatever you want, but I would like them to signify how many they're getting and what they're getting, kind of thing. So that could be a photo, that could be a graphic, whatever you guys want to do is totally fine. But we have the need for, let me just show you. All right, so for Mac Pops, it's 3, 6, 10, and 20. And for Macarooz, it was 6, 12, 24, 48, 72. That's what we have currently as variants in the products things. But whatever you make, if you make it, like I always use SVGs for these type of things, if you make it so that we can all, the Macarooz team, if they added a different number in the middle, they go back to that source file and make a new one. That would be fabulous. Now let's go back to show you the 72. The 72 is under Build Your Box Macarooz, where they have the option to build up to 72. No one has built a 72 box yet, but I thought the 48 was a stretch. Because I think they had 24 before, or maybe it was just 12, I forget which. So we added a 48, and someone's bought the 48. So I said the second they bought the 48, like, we need to go higher. Right? If somebody ever buys a 72, then we'll put a higher number above that in there also. I was absolutely amazed. It's happened a couple times where people have gone through and added 48, picked the numbers of, however many they want, and made that all happen. So those images would be great for those variants to visualize. Now you guys had those, what I call the stickers, which were really cool looking. I could see you could have like using your stickers and some numbers or something like that, some sort of, taxonomy that you figure out to replace these images that are very, very bland that I put in place. Right. So let's go back to a product and just see if there's anything else we need to talk about there. So I already talked about the product seals. If you want to replace those, totally fine. Right now these are SVGs, so that I can change the color through CSS dynamically, but if they're PNGs, that's totally fine also. Yeah, and all I've got for imagery right now is those variant numbers and one cover photo. So let's go to our cart again and see. So right now it'd be nice if we could add to this some sort of little graphic that's, you know, signifies, hey, shipping, whether it's time or calendar or something. It'd be kind of nice, not necessary at all, but kind of nice. And then let's talk about gift cards. So gift cards is a product we use a lot, especially on the event pages. So every event ends up with, if you look at the see all, it's the same gift card product over and over again. They have this gift card product, and what I've done is I've made this little graphic for them. In the end, when the gift card gets delivered to the customer, there's a blank version of this image that doesn't have the $100 on it, and this little A1, you know, this little fake code thing. So it'll look, the card they get looks exactly like this, or almost exactly like this in the end. So I use that on the front end, so there's a consistency there. But we could have this image be whatever we wanted it to be. I just keep it as simple as what's going to get delivered to them at the end. But like I said, what's on the front end and what gets delivered on the back end can be different. But if you guys want to change these, right, we have different denominations. Or it's not changing on the first one. I got to figure that out. So, you know, the 25, 50, 75, 150, 200. Those are the price points I put in right now. But you can change out the gift card designs. We just need one for every denomination so that it's clear to the customer when they change it, right, and they go to the cart. That I always like that visual confirmation that, hey, you've got the $50 denomination, right? Just like I like the visual confirmation that you got the 20 Mac Pops kind of thing. So the gift certificates is another graphical element that can be created. We were in the cart trying to see if there's anything else. So notice now that I've added the gift card that promo for a gift card has gone away. That's just a little code that I built. If you're wondering where that little promo went. So if I remove that, refresh the page, the promo shows up again. And for this promo, we should probably make an image that isn't square. Although I don't know if I have the choice here with the element that I made because, you know, of the white banding that happens. We'll figure that out. In the checkout, we have very little control over the experience. Let me show you what we got there right now. Yeah, all we have is the logo for graphics, and you guys have been locked on that already. Now, the color scheme, you know, if you guys want to tell me how to adjust the color scheme, is totally fine. I just use the colors I was given and, you know, use them however I thought was, you know, the best way, right? So I like the blue as the more dominant color. I use the green in the footer. Every once in a while I use this, you know, this what I'm calling orange. Then there's also a red. There's the red right here, which I think I use in the add to cart button also. Yeah, add to cart. And I left the text mostly black, right? Or white for a contrast thing. But I didn't include the brand colors into the text to keep it a little bit cleaner. Sometimes it can get a little too colorful if you put a lot of color in the text also. All right, so I think that sums up all the pages. Oh, let me actually just check one more place. On the back end, let's go into the list of pages to see if there's any that we're creating that we're not showing through the navigation. So if I go to online store, pages, holiday, mid-autumn, buyer's guide. This is an important one. So the buyer's guide is a page we're building out, so we haven't put it into the navigation yet. But this one here, you know, we'll need a banner image, you know, portrait and landscape here. And then what we're doing is we are, you know, walking the customer through the merchandising process. You know, think of this as a customer walks into the store and the store staff says, "Hey, how can I help you?" Right? And then the customer started asking questions. Well, we can't have a two-way conversation here. So with a buyer's guide, we're going to presume some of their questions, like, are you in a rush? Well, then just go to our bestsellers, right? Are you giving a gift? Well, we've got plenty of gift products. Are you hosting a party? So, and the Macarooz team is coming up with all the copy. Right now, it's all placeholder copy, right? But each one of these elements, we're going to need a nice image, and they should probably be a little more consistent, right? I'm really not a fan of the way that this image is completely different than this image. So whatever content we come up with, we'll want some sort of imagery to map to that. I would say some sort of consistent imagery to map to that, but it doesn't have to be consistent. That's just me being the way I am. So that's one page that we hadn't talked about before. We're gonna need content for. See what else we got here. Shop at Macarooz. Yeah, so this one here, I don't think there's any imagery. Let's see. If we go to the cart, there's a continue shopping link. Oh no, we do need stuff for this one. So this one, continue shopping link takes you to the most popular treats that we show first. Here's our four most popular things. And then, hey, do you want macarons? Do you want Mac Pops? Do you want gift boxes? So some imagery here would be really nice also. And whenever I say imagery, I always assume photos, but you guys made some graphics also. So when I'm saying imagery, if it's photos, if it's graphics, whatever, whatever you want to put in there, totally fine. So that was shop. We already showed that one. We showed those. Yeah, I think we've shown them. Oh, we have another page of pages. Corporate gifting, wholesale we haven't shown, and I don't think we're using Find a Retailer anymore. So let me look at press and wholesale. So press, let's see if we're using that page. I don't think we are. Oh, we are. Okay. And right now we're not using it because it looks like crap. So as you guys come up with a better press presentation, we can add this into the navigation. And what we're doing here on these is we actually take them to the article on the external website. So instead of trying to host it on our site, we just take them to the native experience where they can see things. But whatever the right way to do this is and present it graphically, let me know and we can put that together. And then the other one was find a wholesale and find a retailer. So let's look at those. Wholesale. We're building this one out also. It's sort of like the corporate gifting one. We're definitely going to need some imagery for that. We also need some copy from the Macarooz team before we come up with the imagery. And then find a retailer. Are we doing anything with this one? No, we should have a placeholder right now. So I need to talk to Macarooz and see what we're doing there, if we're going to build this out or not. All right, so that gives you hopefully everything that we're looking for here from a graphic standpoint. Thanks.